Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday, June 9th. Yes, it is 6/9. In fact, actually, it is my girlfriend's birthday. And had a little celebration this morning before I took off for work. She's taking the day off for the most part, so I wanted to make sure that she, had a really good day today. And actually, it was the first time that I've ever purchased jewelry for a girlfriend, and so that was sort of a big moment, I guess. We've been together for 3 years, and during that whole process, like I've talked about, is I've been in the process of paying off all my debt. Then that's the hardest part is, these medical bills and these other responsibilities that I should have taken care of a long time ago. I just never did because I avoided the, confrontation. I avoided the problems. I don't know what it was mentally that just thought they would go away, but they never did, obviously, and they just stayed there, and they rear their ugly head eventually, and you have to confront it and you have to deal with it. So I have been, and so I've been, all of my extra money that I have primarily goes towards my debt. And so like I said, my debt will be all paid off next week. I'm thinking about doing some sort of a special little thing about kind of going over the process of how I did it and exactly what it takes for an individual to get through. And so like I've been putting all of my extra money into that, and so the ability to save up and actually purchase jewelry was a stretch. It was difficult, but I made it happen. So happy birthday to you. I love you. And I figured that, I also did my workout this morning, 500 push-ups done, all my curls and everything like that with my, that was done. So, I have everything else is good to go for the day. I am concerned about, I do have a 12K tomorrow. It's known as the Sound to Narrows run, and it starts in Tacoma by the waterfront, and it's 12K, so it's about 7.46 miles. And I've done it for the last, my girlfriend and I, we've done it the llast 3 years together because where she works actually is the sponsor, or one of the biggest sponsors of the run itself. And so we just, as an employee, she devotes herself to going to these kind of events. And so, she'll do the 5K walk with our daughter, and then I was planning on running, but I have actually been experiencing some really painful ankle pain. I have gone through this before. I have experienced it before. I don't know if it's a flare-up or if it's just, I don't know, bone rubbing on bone. I hope it's not, but I don't know, but it hurts. And so I am not going to let it be an excuse to not allow me to participate in this. I am going to run anyway, but I will still push myself to try to get the fastest time that I possibly can, and I'm not going to let this keep me from participating. So I will move forward with it. I'm just concerned about exactly how much I can really put into it. So we'll see how that goes. I do have two times for the previous 2 years that I can compare to see how I do, and I hope I can. If I feel better tomorrow, I will do what I can to try to improve on that. So that's me. I'm always striving to improve myself every single day. So that's that. I wanted to talk about her. She's my rock. She's the reason why I am in the kind of mind state that I am today. She changed me. Meeting her was the greatest single moment, and I remember everything about it very vividly because it just changed everything. The first minute that I met her, it was funny. I was sitting at work. It was 10:30 something in the morning. I received this message on Tinder, and Tinder is a social dating app. People are more familiar with it, but she said that, we had a friend in common, and it's automatically linked up to your Facebook account. So I looked at her and I said, I don't see any friends that we have in common. And she told me who it was, and it clicked. And who it was one of the guys that I worked with, who I'm actually very good friends with. His wife is friends with her, and she had been trying to set us up for years, for like 2 years together, and it just never really worked out. And so we had met on this social dating app, and she looks at my picture and she takes a screenshot, sends it over to her friend, and says, "Is this the guy you wanted me to meet?" And she goes, "Oh my God, yes. You matched with him on Tinder," and that's how it started off. It was, we had a mutual friend that was trying to set us up for, more than almost 2 years, and it just never worked out. And we ended up having to meet on a social dating app just out of the blue, and we happened to live within a mile of each other. And so talked for a few days, went on our first date on a Thursday. I didn't really know what to expect on that first date, so I didn't put, we just try to get out and have fun and have a few drinks and talk with each other. And the thing is, meeting her, it was the first time I ever dated or had gone on a date where I actually was really interested in the person, with someone who was extremely professional. And she was an independent woman, great job, great career, didn't need a guy to take care of her. And a lot of guys are kind of put off by that and threatened because of a woman's success. I'm not sure why that is. It has something to maybe do with ego, but with me, I don't have much of an ego. I do think of myself very highly, and I do have a lot of self-confidence, but at the same time, I'm humble, and I understand that I'm not the greatest thing since sliced bread, and that, she is the yin to my yang. She's a little bit different than I am. We clicked on that, and we do have a lot of similarities. She's the only woman to ever really make me laugh out loud, literally. And she has been, the greatest thing in my life, and she has given me the greatest blessing in my life, which is a daughter. And so just these last 3 years, I have noticed with myself how much I have changed, and how much she has, helped me change. And I cannot thank her enough, because just meeting her made me realize that, that I'm capable of so much more, and that I just wasn't pushing myself for that time before meeting her. And when I met her, I really pushed myself. I pushed myself hard. And today, 3 years later, I can pinpoint the moment that my life changed for the better, and it was meeting her. And a lot of these, the career changes, the financial changes, the health changes, the mindset changes, all of it, my outlook on life, all these changes stemmed from meeting her, because I had finally met somebody that, was exactly what I was looking for, that I didn't know I was looking for, if that makes any sense, because I always had this belief that when you met when you're going on these dates with people, like, well, she doesn't, I'm really into snowboarding, but she's not into snowboarding, and that's kind of a, it's kind of a turnoff, a red flag or something like that. But, and so last night I got into this conversation with this woman at the jewelry store, and she said that her son is having problems finding relationships, and that he, finds that women have the same similarity, that don't have the same similarities as him, and likes and dislikes, that it turns him off. And I asked her, I said, I was in the same position at one time, and I asked myself, look, would you date yourself? And she kind of took back, and she's like, I've never thought of it that way. And I said, tell him that. Ask him, would you date yourself? And I will honestly tell you that most people should say no. I wouldn't date myself, and why would you date somebody that you have everything in common with? You guys share all the same things, you do all the same things. I think you need differences. You need to celebrate those differences. You need to be able to, I like documentaries. I like kind of boring TV sometimes, British comedies and stuff, and goofy slapstick comedies, and she likes reality television, She likes, we did click on music though, she was the first one. We're in the car just driving around, and she starts rapping Eazy-E, and I was like, I love you, and it was great. But it's the thing is, I asked myself, would you date yourself? And I really thought about it. I said, no. I would want someone who taught me new things and got me to stretch beyond my comfort zones. And I tell you, meeting her was exactly that. I have stretched myself for a few years now, and it's I can't help but not to stretch and challenge myself on a daily basis now because of her. And so, yeah, she is extremely special to me, and we have a beautiful daughter whom we both love, and it's a great sharing responsibility relationship, and I can't imagine, being with anyone else. And so, she doesn't watch my channel because she doesn't really know that I do vlogs, but you know, the way that we met was pretty special. It was random, but at the same time, I also feel like it was extremely destined to be, and that's how cool it is. You know, when somebody tries to introduce you to someone else and it doesn't work out, and it kind of goes back into your mind as a forethought, and all of a sudden you meet each other in just a completely random situation, and sure, we could have met before, we could have met previous time, you know, or earlier than that, but I think that things don't happen at a certain time for a reason, for a purpose, and this is the way that it is. You know, you can't rush certain things. Things have to happen when they happen. You can't force things. You don't have control over those things. It'll happen when it happens, if it happens. And, you know, I just remember growing up and trying to learn about relationships and everything like that. I never really, you know, I always felt like you had to control and kind of, you know, make things happen, but sometimes you just need to kick back, relax, and let things happen. You know, make wise decisions, be smart with things, but at the same time, you can't force it. You know, you have to let things just naturally happen. And when it involves emotions and feelings and love and compassion and all that stuff, you just have to let it happen. You can't force anything. And that's the best part about it, is love and emotions and connections with people. Those things just happen. You can't control them. You can't force them. You can't initiate them. And they just happen. You know, it has to be a natural thing that naturally progresses along, and two people eventually just start growing together and find out that it's the greatest thing that they've had, and they agree on that and they move forward with it. And with me and with her and I, it's been that. And I can't tell you how happy I am today. And it's her birthday today, and I went out and did the most I've ever done for someone for their birthday, and I feel really good about it. Just because of the simple fact that money doesn't have, you know, it doesn't matter how much something costs. What matters is that she feels special, that there's a story attached to the jewelry, and that it means something. And she'll always look at it and think about the story that I told her about. The story that I told her about was, you know, it's an infinity, a vertical, so it's upside down, and it has two different paths that come together at the bottom, and there's a diamond down there. And the diamond is, you know, two becoming one. And I said that the one was our life together and our future, which will never break. It will remain connected, and that the diamond was our daughter, and that the two paths coming together created such a beautiful thing, and that it's the greatest thing, and it's the most valuable of that whole necklace. And so, you know, the diamond itself is, you know, it's the greatest thing about that piece. You know, sure that, you know, the sides are, you know, the gold itself is nice and everything like that, but the most important piece, the piece that stands out the most, that means the most, is the diamond, and it's the coming together of two things to create something beautiful, and that is our daughter. And so that's why I did that. And so I think it was a great story. I liked it. I put everything together, set it up, kind of walked out the door, and I was like, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to give you your birthday present. Do you want it now? And she said, yeah. And so I gave it to her. She was surprised, and she goes, "You've never bought jewelry before, have you?" I was like, "No, I never have. I've been to jewelry stores before, but I've never actually gone in and purchased anything. I mean, I'm not a flashy person. I don't need jewelry for myself, and I've never been in a relationship where jewelry was something that I wanted to get for somebody. I've never been like that until I met her, and so it's it's a sign of better things to come. And I just want to wish her a happy birthday, and I love her very much, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for us, because she is the most amazing person and has made me an amazing person, and we created the most amazingly beautiful young girl who's going to grow up to be a great person. And I can't wait to see what the future holds. It's when I think about how much I've gone through and experienced in life, and never really thought I'd ever get to this point, it's truly a blessing. And I feel like, all those years of just being myself and just not forcing anything and just allowing things to happen created this, and it paid off. And I'm happy, and I'll do anything I can to make her happy for the rest of her life. So I love her very much, and I want to wish her a happy birthday, and I want to wish you a happy Friday. So I'll let you guys know how the run goes tomorrow, the Sound and Arrows 12K. Hopefully I'll be able to do it. I'm going to do everything I can. I don't make excuses. I always push forward with challenging myself, and I will do that tomorrow. I'll let you guys know how it goes. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you on Monday. Thanks.